You're listening to The Morning Buzz.
The Morning Buzz.
The Morning Buzz.
The Morning Buzz on 90.3. 90.3.
90.3.
90.3 WMSC.
WMSC.
WMSC Upper Montclair.
Upper Montclair, New Jersey.
Good morning, world, and all who inhabit it. My name is Louis Biondolillo, and I'm one of your hosts for The Morning Buzz. It's Monday, March 22nd, 2021. At 8:01 in the AM here at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And as always, I'm joined with my lovely and wonderful and smiley co-host, Kyle Pepitone. Hi, Kyle.
How's it going, Louis?
It's a beautiful day. I bet you haven't been outside yet because you're still at home.
Yes.
It is a beautiful day. It feels the birds are chirping. The sun is shining. It's going to be a little warm today. It's spring, ladies and gentlemen. It's spring.
Finally. I mean, this weekend was pretty nice, but having some consistent weather for once would be really good because, it's been snowy, then 70, then snowy again, and now 70.
You know what they say?
It's been a roller coaster.
They say Jersey has 12 seasons.
Yes.
That we have you have the winter, and then you have Fool's Spring, and then you have second winter, and then you have kind of nice spring. And
right.
I kind of think we're at the kind of nice
spring
now. So that's exciting.
My one issue, though, is the wind. It would be a much nicer if it wasn't for the wind.
And you're not even on campus, Kyle. You know how bad the wind gets here.
It's windy up there.
Yeah, the wind. There's one thing before I came back for the 2020/2021 school year that I did not miss about the university, and it's the wind. Yeah. I missed the skyline, but in order to get the skyline and be on this beautiful mountain we're on,
right,
I think the wind is a little inevitable.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, Kyle, it's not just you and me here today, right?
No, it is not. We have our lovely newscaster, Thomas. How are you?
I'm great, Kyle.
Good to know. Do you want to hit us with the newscast this morning?
Of course I do. All right, so first we have, according to Yahoo News, former President Trump is planning on making his own social media platform that he says will completely redefine the game. This was confirmed by Jason Miller, a spokesperson for the Trump re-election campaign. No further details have been provided on the platform by Miller or anyone affiliated with the former Trump administration. According to NewJersey.com, on Sunday, New Jersey reported another 2,599 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The number of confirmed cases has increased by 11% in a week, and the rate of transmission has slightly increased from 1.07 to 1.08. The transmission rate being over 1 shows that COVID is still spreading across the state of New Jersey. Your weather today in Upper Montclair, New Jersey, is a high of 60 degrees and a low of 35 degrees. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I love to hear that we're getting, highs past 40 degrees.
It is quite nice. Thanks so much, Tom. Now we're going on to Matt, one of my favorite red-shirted people for our 2-minute warning. Matt, take it away.
Good morning. So over the weekend, we saw many Montclair sports being played, including women's cross country placing third at the NJAC Championships, women's soccer winning 5-0 against Kane University, the softball team winning 8-0 and 3-1 in their doubleheader against William Patterson University. Men's lacrosse beat Gwinnett Mercy University 18-4, and the football team lost a close match to Wesley College 20-13. In professional sports in the NFL, the New York Jets continue to make moves this offseason, this time signing defensive lineman Sheldon Rankins to a 2-year deal, and the Giants signed Kenny Galladay to a 4-year deal, which is huge. Superstar quarterback Deshaun Watson, amid trade rumors, now has 12 lawsuits filed against him for inappropriate conduct and sexual assault. In the MLB, the Mets won 6-2 against the Nationals, and the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 8-3. Spring training is soon coming to a close as opening day is on April 1st. In the NBA, The Nets won a close game against the Wizards, 113-106, and the Knicks lost against the 76ers in a game that was full of back and forths. A Julius Randle game-tying three to send it to overtime, and then a Julius Randle miss for the game winner. In college basketball, we are in the heat of March Madness right now, as we've seen many upsets. Rutgers winning in the first round against the 7th-seeded Clemson, but taking a loss against the number 2 Houston last night. One story to watch out for, Oral Roberts, a 15 seed, beating the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes, and last night beating the number 7 Florida Gators. And today, in sports history, in 1967, Muhammad Ali KO'd Zora Fali in 7 for the heavyweight boxing title. We'll send it back to you guys.
That was a lot of sports, and there's two things that I want to add that I'm usually not a sports person, but you mentioned the Mets. So I'd like to say that former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is now on the New York Mets board of directors, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. That's one. That's the first thing I wanted to add. And two, when we take it back home, you were mentioning a lot of winning at home, first of all, with Montclair State. So that was nice. I know that there was supposed to be the NJAC women's basketball championship game this past weekend. That has since been rescheduled for April 3rd due to COVID-19.
Definitely hope that we can play that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
they've been having a fire season, right, Matt?
Yeah, that's for sure. To say the least.
To say the least.
And of course, I was just going to add to March Madness. Of course, we can't forget that every bracket was also busted when Illinois lost yesterday too.
That is true. I heard about a lot of angry people that their brackets were completely gone when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, on the first day in the first round, Ohio State lost to Oral Roberts, like I said, and people were sending death threats to one of the players on Ohio State. It's just like, take it easy, you know. It's like
Take it easy. It's not worth it. Not at
Yeah.
all. Brackets are not worth anything
Definitely.
of that. All right, we're gonna get right into our first story. This one's an important one. A little breaking this morning. Kyle, won't you take it away?
Yes. So, from the New York Times, the AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine is found to be 79% effective in the United States study. So, recently, the AstraZeneca vaccine has been tested in a large trial in the United States with over 32,000 participants, yielding a 79% effectiveness rate. The vaccine has also shown to be preventative in the elderly, which is it's a stronger protection than what has been seen in other vaccines to date. In the trial, AstraZeneca reported that none of the people who received the vaccines developed any severe COVID symptoms or required hospitalization. However, they also failed to report the number of people who did develop symptoms or require hospitalization who did not receive the vaccine and instead received a saline placebo. So the weight of that claim that they said about none of the people who received the vaccine developing COVID symptoms is still up in the air. It's hard to determine how heavy of a meaning that statement carries. But however, this New York Times writes that this might not be needed as the vaccine is not approved yet in America by the FDA. But if it is to be, it is most likely unavailable till May, when all three of the other current vaccine providers are suspected to make a substantial amount of doses to vaccinate a majority of the country.
I would say overall, this is good news.
Yes.
I don't have much against it. There's another vaccine that's coming into fruition, and I'm happy that it's here. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make here in the United States, like you were mentioning, especially since President Joe Biden mandated that all U.S. states, territories, and whatever other word, and tribes, he said, have to allow all U.S. adults to be able to book an appointment for the vaccine by May 1st. So if it's not ready by May, I don't know how much influence it's going to have here in the U.S. However, it very well might give the vaccine more credibility in other, maybe smaller countries if the United States approves it for emergency
which is
use.
very important because recently surrounding this vaccine, there have been incidents or cases reported of blood clots in patients who have received this vaccine. And we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But essentially, in many European countries, people who have received the vaccine develop blood clots. And it's mostly women over the age of 55 who have mostly seen this, but it's been others outside of that demographic as well. However, there are some scientists researching into it and trying to discover why this vaccine is causing any blood clots to begin with. So I know I know a lot of people are concerned about vaccines regarding COVID in general. So definitely this is something to keep out for. But as none of us are medical professionals, at least I'm not, Lewis, right?
I would say that being a television major does not qualify me to be a medical professional now.
Okay, Thomas, you're not a medical professional, are you?
I am not.
Okay, so with that being said, I guess our recommendation would be to talk to your doctor about which vaccine is probably best for you, because each one is made slightly differently and each one could have their own different side effects, if any.
I think as a non-medical person, I can make the recommendation to do your research.
Yeah, definitely.
I did my research to find out which vaccine would be best for me. It ended up being Pfizer for me, but that doesn't mean anything else for anyone else.
Right.
For all you know, without doing research, this AstraZeneca could be the best vaccine for you. But here's the important part. Don't trust people on social media. That would be my recommendation. I would say I would trust the people in the white coats in the hospitals and the labs a lot more than I would trust my guy with what's it called, with the lumberjack shirt going on with the beard down to his ankles. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they all look like when you go on social media and everyone's like, oh, I don't trust this, I don't trust this. They don't seem that trustworthy.
Right.
But that's me. That's personally just me. But overall, good news. Nothing against it. I see no issues. Overall, for me.
Same here.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next story, and it still has to do with COVID, because what doesn't have to do with COVID this year? Everything has a little part in it. And that is Montclair State University's COVID case has over tripled in size over the past 2 weeks. University officials announced that 42 people in the university community tested positive for COVID-19 compared to 12 the previous week. Of the 42 cases, 41 of them are students, and only one of them is a contractor who worked on campus last week. Currently, there are 62 people from Montclair State in isolation and recovering. The positivity rate of tests on campus was the largest they have been this semester last week at 1.26%. Due to the hike in cases, the university has added extra precautions to continue to slow the spread of the virus in the community. Students who live on campus are no longer allowed to have a guest in the dorms. Previously, residents were permitted one guest per living space. In addition to this new rule, all old rules still apply. Wearing masks indoors is mandatory, even if you are alone, unless you have your own personal office, which I would guess that most students aren't in that position. So if you are a student and you are inside a university building, it is still required, and I'd like to emphasize, required for you to wear a mask. I am in the WMSC studio by myself. I would guess that maybe there's one other person in the entire building, and yet right now, as you could see if you're watching Facebook Live, I am wearing a mask. I am wearing my gloves. I am wearing my headphone covers. I cleaned the entire studio before I started the show. The least people can do is wear a mask, please.
Now, for somebody who's not on campus this year, this might be a stupid question, but does this mask indoor requirement apply to in your dorm as well?
Good question. I knew people were concerned about that towards the beginning of the year. When you are in your dorm, when you are in your own dorm, you are not required to wear a mask, and nor do you. It's like you're in your house. You have your roommates. Your
Okay.
roommates are your family, and that's about it. Those are the three,
Okay.
those are the maximum of 3 people that the university wants you maskless around, even before the no guest policy. So how do we feel, by the way, about that no guest policy? Students are required to have no visitors at all, just you. So in some cases, just themselves if they're in a single by themselves.
Right.
I'm fortunate enough to have three wonderful roommates in my apartment. I have my own room, but
Right.
apartment. So how would you feel, Kyle? You're in
Well-
your dorm, and you were supposed to have one person over safely, and you are now told that it is unsafe for you to do so.
Well, through my less than a year's experience living on campus, I can tell you I didn't have many people over to begin with. So personally, I don't think I would be too affected by this. It's unfortunate that you can't have guests, but as far as I know, this rule doesn't apply to you can't hang out with anyone anywhere else on campus.
Right.
So you could still, I'm guessing, you could still go out and eat with a person at one of the dining places on campus, right?
Yes, you can. You have to sit at the designated seating areas, and then you could take your mask off. The seats are put into place. You should not be moving them, and all the seats are 6 feet apart. Like if you go to Blanton Hall, there's only one. There's long rectangular tables, and one person sits on either of the long sides, not the short sides.
Oh, okay.
I would say that rule has not been enforced properly. I would say that many of those tables, Tom, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I've been up to campus a couple of times. I saw like a group of kids sitting like 6 like right next to each other, like at one of the long tables.
Yeah, and
they have like a guy. You if you go to campus, you'll see him. He wears like a reflective like vest, and basically he's supposed to enforce like all the social distancing and the mask.
That's crazy. How many times have you been on campus so far, Tom, this semester?
I've been on a couple times.
Okay, I live here and I've never seen this guy with the reflecting vest. So it's shocking to me that 1, he exists, and 2, I've never seen him while you have. That's just strange. I believe you, but that just means that this guy is not doing his job to the fullest extent.
He's a cryptid.
Yeah. So with this rule, this extra rule that they're adding now, here's the thing. I'm all for being safe, and I want this virus to go away. There's a few issues with this. One, well, this might be my main issue. I'm going to stick with this. I've always said that people will follow rules if they are reasonable.
Right.
And the people that don't follow the reasonable rules will not follow the strict and unreasonable rules. And as an RA, and I can't give any specific instances, but I can say from my overall experience that people think that these rules are getting ridiculous. They think that they're getting ridiculous. And before this added rule, people were actually following the rules.
Okay, that's good to know.
For the most part.
Oh, of course.
There's a few rules that people are breaking, but now that you're adding even more, people are like, well, I'm breaking one rule, I might as well break them all.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because here's what's happening, and I've seen what's happening. There's Greek life organizations right now that are still hosting large parties. I won't name drop them because that's not my job to do so.
Right.
And I was not there, thank God. But there are Greek life organizations that are hosting parties where these students that live in the dorms are going to because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
If the university cared and wanted to actually slow the spread, instead of emailing passive-aggressive emails to the residents every day, I don't even know if you know about this, Kyle.
I barely get any of those emails.
You know, I can't even pull it up for you, this email chain, because they sent it to over 500 people, and my Gmail shuts down. My entire computer shuts down when opening up this Gmail.
Oh, no. Is that the one that we were, that was a buzz in the WMSC Discord over
exactly.
Last week?
This past week, We have a program on campus that you have to do every single day if you are a resident on campus, and every single day that you come to campus if you are a commuter, called Hawk Check. It's a really simple thing. It takes about 1 minute of your day every day that you put in your name, you put in your phone number, you tell them, do I have any symptoms? Have I been in contact with anybody from COVID? Have I received the vaccine? That's it. It literally takes about 30 seconds every single morning. But when people don't do that, the university decides to send passive-aggressive emails. And usually they put us on BCC, which means we can't see all the other recipients of this email. But I think someone from ResLife might have messed up a little bit. And they put everyone on 2, which means that everyone saw everyone's email and everyone had the ability to reply all to everyone. And so they did. When you put 500 bored college students in essentially a group chat, they're going to treat it as such. There were memes in this group chat. There was flyers to come to virtual events in the group chat.
Oh, no.
And everyone that replied all had their Gmail and their entire Google account disabled.
Right.
That's insane. That's absolutely absurd, first of all. But anyway.
Just a little bit.
And our producer asked me the other day, and she's asking again now in our Zoom chat, with all these rules, why even stay on campus? Well, here's the fun thing. At the beginning of either the school year or whenever you started living here on campus, we signed a contract, and in that contract, it says that we will not be given any refund, no reimbursement, if we choose to leave due to COVID. So now that it's getting a little bit worse again, people are forced to stay here because of the other rule that prevents us from leaving campus. Do you see what I'm saying? That every single part of living on campus this year has an issue?
A little bit. That's one of the reasons why I chose not to. And also all my classes are still online, so like that made the decision easier as well.
For sure. The only reason I am on campus this year, the only reason, is because I'm an RA that doesn't have to pay for housing. And if I didn't do it this year, they wouldn't have given me free housing next year. So I had to choose, and this was the choice I made. I'm not upset with the decision. I've had a lot of fun here by myself in this radio studio, hours a week. I'll say no, honestly, that sounded depressing, but I'm being very serious that I have had a lot of fun here. Different fun, but fun.
Right.
But yeah, my final thoughts, if I was to give my final thoughts, and I am going to give my final thoughts, is that the university really needs to check themselves and see that people are getting upset and people will no longer follow any of the rules if we continue to add rules. And here's the major problem that most residents are giving. We have all these rules, and then someone like you, Kyle, or someone like you, Thomas, a commuter, can come and go as they please. Don't have to do their Hawk check. Don't have to do anything.
Right.
Except wear a mask.
I actually did have to do it, but only for one reason. It's because I wanted to go in the rec center, which, by the way, is closed half the time for deep cleaning. So don't expect it to be open when you go up there.
Yeah, the rec center has been doing a good job at deep cleaning, a bad job at staying open. I would agree with you, Thomas. But of all things, that's my least concern as a person of a larger size who does not like going to the gym. Haven't even thought of stepping foot in the gym. Because I do not have the time because of.
Oh, they have video games.
That's fair. That's you know what, Thomas. That's fair. That is fair. But amongst my 4 roommates, we're getting a little off track now. But we literally have every game system known to man and every streaming platform.
Impressive.
Yeah, I would say so. But that's our COVID update. Cases are on the rise. Restrictions are being added, and students are getting upset. That's where we are. When we come back on the Morning Buzz, we'll be talking about Miami Beach and a curfew issued to spring breakers, the new New Jersey marijuana law. We'll be right back on the Morning Buzz.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State, coming at you live from the beautiful School of Communication and Media here at the windy but beautiful Montclair State University. I'm Louis Biondolillo, one of your co-hosts here with Kyle Pepitone.
How you doing?
We are having a good day so far. It's only 8:28, and I know it's going to be a good, if not long, but good day.
True.
And it's great that you're all joining us here for the Morning Buzz, the best way to start off your weekdays, 8 to 9 a.m. every single morning. And the Monday Buzz, in my opinion, the best morning buzz to start your week off.
As somebody who has not been on any other buzz for, pretty much a year, I would have to agree.
Yeah, I've jumped around a little bit, but I think I'm going to stick with the Monday Buzz for now. Unless our producer wants to move me or take me off. Amanda, I don't have to wake up in the morning, but I'm having a good time, you know? that was my note to my producer, who is probably sitting at her desk very angry at me right now for saying that live. Because, we're live. And because we're live, we have to do news. And Kyle, we have a story that you are going to do, right?
Yes. So Miami Beach issues a curfew to curb spring break, and the virus knocks out the VCU from March Madness. So recently, Miami Beach has issued a state of emergency right as many were, going down to Florida to try and enjoy their spring break, because most colleges, unlike us, have that luxury this year. Some of the restrictions put in place during the state of emergency includes roads leading to the beach being shut down, restaurants prohibiting outdoor dining after 7, and walks along Ocean Drive being prohibited after 8 p.m., of course. This call comes from Mayor Dan Gelber, who said, "Too many people are coming here right now." In response, quote, "Too many people are coming here right now," end quote, in response to the discounted offers on flights and hotel rooms that many university students are taking advantage of. Police said they have already arrested about a dozen people after curfew hours this week. And the head of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, said, quote, "Every time there's a surge in travel, we have a surge in cases in this country. We are really trying to restrain travel at this current period in time," end quote. And we talked a bit about that. We talked a bit about this last week, where there was a spike in travel once again. Like I said, during the spring break time period. And Dr. Francis Collins, director of the National Institutes of Health, urged Americans to keep with the social distancing precautions for just a little bit longer. So, probably not the best time to go to Florida, if you ask me. But, that's just me. What do you guys think?
What are these people doing? What are you doing? I can't leave campus right now, and you are going maskless on a beach with thousands of other people, so much that they had to issue a curfew? A curfew? In the middle of a pandemic! I sound like Tucker Carlson right now. That's how mad I am. That's how mad I am right now. I'm sorry. I'm killing Kyle's ears and probably all of you right now.
But I was not expecting that at all.
It is 8:32 on a Monday morning. And what are you doing? You're in Miami Beach right now? For what? For what reason? Seriously. What are you doing? So you can lick some ice cream? So you could watch people in bathing suits? So you could swim in disgusting water? What is going on? I don't understand. I'm just upset. and very upset. I am. And now Mark Zuckerberg forever has a video of me in a mask, gloves, headphone covers, while people are in Miami Beach. Okay, I'm done.
So I take it you're not traveling this month.
No, not at all. I don't even have a word. If you want to travel and you want to go to different places, why would you go to the most popular spring break place on the face of the earth? Anybody who goes to Miami Beach right now, and I know people who are there right now, and I will tell this to them, to their faces. Well, I will tell this to their Zoom faces because I will not be seeing them in person for quite some time. You are being in, and I won't play it again. I played it before. That these are only my opinions. What are you doing? You are being so selfish right now. There's so many other things for you to do that are less dangerous. I get the mental health aspect. I really do. Do you know, Kyle, how bad I want to go on vacation right now? If I could jump on a cruise ship right now with it being safe, I would. Right. I would spend double the amount of money that you usually would on a cruise if it meant it could be safe. But it's simply not. And if anybody in Miami Beach right now comes home and tells you, well, it's for my mental health, I care about the virus, I really do. This is the worst decision that you could have made. It's the worst decision. And also, I'm going to keep going on this, Kyle. Just give me a second.
All right.
What does a curfew do at all?
Well, I mean nothing, because they've had to arrest at least a dozen people this week and like 100 last week, the article said.
Did you see that video going around online of the hundreds of people in bathing suits, maskless, and surrounding a police car because they arrested one of the people, and they distracted the officers so the guy could run away out of the cop car? They opened.
No, I didn't see that at all.
Oh,
but
it's a great video. It's on Twitter. I can't verify it's true, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was, because first of all, how do you doctor that type of video?
Yeah, I doubt they had I doubt they were shooting like a small movie there. I'm sure it was something that was actually happening.
Actually, I think it's because the young people like to go on the beach a lot at night. Like in the Jersey Shore, you hear stories about all the time, people getting fined because at 3 a.m. they'll be on the beach and they'll be blasting the latest hits on their radio. Or
so you think a curfew does do something, Thomas?
Well,
it's okay if the answer is yes.
Well, yeah, to a degree, just because I feel like as a young person, I feel like younger people like to go on the beach at night.
Okay. All right. Totally understood. Of all the things that I'm angry about right now, I would say the curfew's on the bottom of the totem pole. So we can disagree with that, Thomas. I'm okay with disagreeing on that.
As somebody
I would want to go to Miami Beach. Everybody knows the best beaches here. Grab a pliable, go to Belmar Beach. Best beaches are in Jersey.
All right, I will disagree with you on that as well. I know for a fact, I have been there before, that Miami Beach is better than the Jersey Shore. I think most beaches are better than the Jersey Shore.
I have never been outside of the Jersey Shore, so I guess I can't make an opinion, but
start working your way down the coast when the pandemic ends, Thomas. There's some beautiful beaches you don't have to go to Florida. You can go to Maryland, a few hours away. But right now, don't do that. Don't do that. Stick in your place.
I will not do that.
Stay right here. We do have nice beaches. They're just not the best beaches. Yeah. So that's where I am. I have no more words. I've deflated my anger. That's where I am.
Okay. I mean, so as somebody who has never left this state during a spring break period, and somebody who despises parties more than I probably despise peanut butter, and let me tell you, I have a passionate hatred for peanut butter.
Do you?
But I do not understand this at all. I mean, yeah, I get, flights are discounted. That's great. But if you can't do anything, why go?
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Because I guess their mentality was, a mentality I see a lot of people have is, I'm the only one. So I think a lot of these teenagers or college students might have been saying, oh, I'm the only one taking advantage of these things. There's going to be nobody there.
Right, because of course, everyone's following the rules because,
Right. So I don't
I
think
understand.
expected a curfew to come in, but like the mayor said, he literally said there's too many people coming in here, and he put the state of emergency in place because of this.
Yeah.
So,
Understood. And
Wait, let's go back. What is this hatred of peanut butter thing about?
yeah, I was just gonna go to that, Thomas. I think that's the more hot take going on right now. Hot takes are supposed to be at the end of the show, Kyle, but you have yours right now. Go for it. Describe to us your hatred for peanut butter. Are you allergic to peanut butter?
no,
So you just hate something that like a lot of people on this planet can't even eat due to allergies and would love to be able to have the ability to do so, but you yourself are too picky to eat it.
well, you don't have to guilt trip me like that, but kind of. I don't know. It's just something I've always had. I've always had like a visceral reaction to even the smell of peanut butter.
Actually, here's the fun part. And Thomas and our producer are not going to like it. I'm with you, Kyle. I do not like peanut butter one bit. I was totally joking with you. Do not like peanut butter at all. There's something going on. I think our listeners have to say goodbye to the dynamic duo here on
We're done.
Monday's Buzz. I think we are fired. Our producer says we are not fired. We are canceled.
Oh no.
We're gonna start seeing some hashtags. Peanut butter Kyle, peanut butter Kyle, and then everyone's gonna choose peanut butter Kyle.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Oh, and we have another person that will be joining us later. I won't say who it is. They just typed in the chat that they also are not crazy about peanut butter. I don't have the hatred that Kyle does. I really don't. But
yeah, my hatred is irrational. It's bad.
Like, I'm a fan of peanut butter if it's in between two Ritz crackers, and that's about it. I like a little bit of peanut butter between two Ritz crackers and Reese's peanut butter cups. The only times I like peanut butter. But you will not see me sitting down at the kitchen table, taking out some white bread, spreading some peanut butter into a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's where I am. But it's funny because I like Nutella, but I don't like peanut butter.
That's hazelnut, right?
Hazelnut, yeah, for sure. But anyway, there's a lot more important things than hazelnuts and peanuts and butters and bad takes. There is something that a lot more people care about, so we're going to get right onto that today. 1 month ago from this date, which I thought was cool, Governor Murphy signed a historic adult use cannabis law into effect. This law allows adults 21 and older to freely purchase marijuana from state-approved vendors and came after a referendum on ballots passed overwhelmingly by New Jersey voters back in November. Although most New Jerseyans support the law, some Republican lawmakers found a controversial part of it. And we spoke about this on MSU Newsroom, if any of you are listeners of that. Law enforcement officers would no longer be able to contact parents of kids found using the drug. Police officials say that this would hinder the ability to prevent minors from using marijuana, and New Jersey Republicans introduced the bill that would change this part of the original law, allowing police to contact parents about underage use of cannabis. So what's interesting here is that the majority of people, even Republicans at this point, which is so surprising to me, by the way, the overwhelming majority of voters in New Jersey approve of marijuana, and that's justified, and I can make that claim due to the referendum on the ballot back in November.
Right.
But there is a small part of this bill that some people are upset about. Listen, if I'm a parent and my child at 16 is using marijuana, I'm gonna want to know. I don't know. If they're under 18,
right,
I could say for sure the parent should be told.
Yeah.
Because
wait, you forgot to play the soundbite first again.
Oh no, I won't do that I'm not as fired up about this one, Thomas. But the views and opinions of Montclair State are Oh, nope, that's not what it says. The views and opinions that are expressed on the show are not those of Montclair State or WMSC. But go ahead, Kyle.
Here's my thing. So the bill itself allows adults over 21 to freely, legally use it, whatever. But if police aren't able to contact the parents of kids using marijuana, doesn't that make it legal for them too? It sounds like they're just lowering the age of people who can use it.
Yeah, that's I think that's how some of the Republican lawmakers are looking at it. I don't really understand. Usually, I'm capable of seeing all sides of the aisle. I really am. This one, I'm not really entirely sure why anybody would be for this, other than the fact that there's been a huge anti-police movement, and possibly that could be it. That's the only other thing that I could see from another angle.
Yeah. And this article, too, mentioned this doesn't apply to just marijuana, but drinking as well. So essentially, they're just lowering the drinking age. It's a weird way of putting it, but that's exactly what they're doing.
I've heard some people that have turned 21 since, and they have said, why couldn't they have changed this law when we were back in high school? Which is exactly what I think would be. I think we will see, and we already see underage drinking, and I'm not the one to shame anybody for breaking any laws, especially if in like you go to Italy, you can start drinking wine and beer at 13.
Right.
I'm not going to judge people based off of their decisions in the house. But if I'm a parent and my child is caught at a party when they are 16 years old, I'm going to want to know. That's simply it. The parents are in charge of these minors. They are responsible for them. And how are these parents supposed to do their jobs if they are not being told what is going on?
And let's be honest, kids don't exactly have the best common sense. So this opens up the whole thing of the driving and stuff, and, a whole bunch of accidents that would otherwise be very avoidable.
Kyle, I'm 20 years old, and I still don't have common sense.
Right here. Same here.
Thomas might have the most common sense out of all of us, I would say.
I would not agree with that. But
you wouldn't?
I wouldn't. But I would have to say I definitely agree with you guys that I don't see any purpose for this law.
You mean for this portion?
This portion of the law.
Okay.
Like my personal stance on marijuana is it should be regulated like cigarettes and alcohol. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so like how public smoking like how public drinking is illegal, like public smoking should be illegal on beaches and on the shore and in public, and you should get like a DUI for being behind the wheel, like that kind of thing with marijuana.
Exactly.
But also, I think that I saw in Colorado, like they were actually going to legalize here, like growing marijuana in your back, allowing people like grow marijuana. They actually saw in Colorado that created somewhat of a black market for it. So I'm a little skeptical of that portion as well.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely see what's happening. I'm not gonna speculate on that simply because I do not know enough facts for it.
Right.
But I think the three of us at least are in agreement that this part of the law, I think Republicans in New Jersey are spot on with. I'm not going to say they're spot on with most things. I'm going to say they're spot on with this specific thing.
It seems like it's just they're doing, not the Republicans, but the bill the Republicans are trying to change. It seems like this is just a vendetta against police.
That's what it sounds like. And I haven't heard that many Democrat lawmakers come out against the bill that the Republicans put out. I think that it's just they're staying a little bit quieter on it. Like they're not as vocal about it. But I haven't heard a person that has yet said that this is an issue. So I would guess, if I was to predict, if I was a political analyst here at WMSC, I would say that this bill will pass very slightly. I think some Democrats in New Jersey's Congress will vote with Republicans on this bill, unless the governor decides to lobby the Democrats and tell them not to. We will have to see. because the Democratic Party in New Jersey, for those of you who don't know, is split into two sections right now. So it does give Republicans a little hope to get their bills in. So we will see what happens with this bill, what happens with this law, and when people will be able to go into a dispensary and purchase cannabis.
Right.
And that's where we are right now. I wouldn't hold your breath. I think this is going to be a long process that we won't be seeing for a long time.
And it's really been in the works for, like, this has been in the talks for years, right? This isn't like the first we're hearing about this.
Absolutely not. Governor Phil Murphy kind of made it his campaign mission. It was his campaign promise that if he was elected, he would legalize marijuana in New Jersey. It took him a few years to do it, but that's where it is.
Wouldn't be my first platform to run on, but okay.
Yeah. No, he thought that was the biggest problem, but he won. He won, so he might know things other that we don't.
True.
So we shall see what happens, right, Kyle?
Yes.
Kyle, your hair looks so nice this morning.
Thank you. I didn't do anything to it.
You didn't do anything to it?
I pretty much wake up and leave it however it is.
Twinsies, Kyle, twinsies. I don't have enough hair, But anyway, we're going to move on to our final story before our great segment at the end of the show. This is Focus Racial Justice. And if you're unaware of what this project is, it's a project by the entire School of Communication and Media here at Montclair State University. Not only WMSC, but also our television show, Montclair News Lab, our newspaper, the Montclairian, and the Red Hawk Sports Network is getting a little in on the action as well. And we are all collaborating together to tell stories about racial justice. We saw last year that there was huge uprisings for Black Lives Matter after the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many other people. That the school decided that this was an issue that would be important to speak about. And that's what we've been doing. We're going to go right now to something that our programming director did. And he's really fantastic. So I'm sure this is going to be really good. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. Enjoy this.
Hi, my name is Joshua Torado. I am a senior at Montclair State University studying television and digital media with a concentration in audio and sound design. And I am Puerto Rican, 100%. I was lucky to grow up in a majority Hispanic community. So a lot of these racial bias and discriminations I didn't really have to deal with, although there's different problems that between different types of Spanish arise. I think one common misconception is that all Spanish people, just because you speak Spanish, you're the same. Some of the first times I've witnessed that kind of discrimination is if you speak Spanish with your family and they'll say, "Are you speaking Mexican?" And it's, that's not a language, that's an ethnicity, that's a country. I speak Spanish. I wouldn't go up to my family, say, and speak Puerto Rican. It's all Spanish. There's lots of different kinds of Spanish in South America, Caribbean, and I think treating them differently is more harmful than good. And there's a lot you have to educate yourself on. I don't really think I've seen myself in media. I see movies, and I love movies like Coco, and one of my favorites, The Book of Life. I think they're great, Spanish movies, and they do a good job at portraying a certain type of culture, but it's not necessarily my culture, I can sympathize, but I can't really empathize. I feel like if you're Hispanic, you've definitely had this moment where if you're filling out a job application, they'll ask you for your ethnicity, and then they'll go on to ask you for your race. And as a Latino, it's weird, because why are you asking me if I'm white, black, or something else? I'm Hispanic. And I think overall that section kind of attributes more to this discrimination and this separation and this idea of race. And it definitely does more harm than good, in my opinion. I think starting by even just taking that out, or even for us Hispanics, us Latinos, adding us there.
90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair.
This is the Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and we just covered a little bit of Focus Racial Justice, our big focus project here at the School of Communication and Media. It's an important topic. There's going to be a lot more coverage in the upcoming months. We have quite some time before the semester ends, but we'll be focusing on it all semester. So be sure, if you're interested, to stay tuned to the Morning Buzz every Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m., MSU Newsroom, Monday, 1 to 2, and many other times here at WMSC Upper Montclair. Now, we have one of my favorite parts of the entire Morning Buzz show. The reason I wake up on a Monday morning, to see this face, to hear this voice, to hear some hot takes going on here. We have Emma. How are you this morning?
I am great. How are you, Lewis?
I am living in the studio by myself, but I feel like I'm in good virtual company.
Good. I'm glad. So, yes, I have my hot takes for today. Usually I talk about something a little lighter, but I wanted to switch things up a little bit. This was something that I actually talked about with my dad last night, and I felt like it was something that I should share. So I watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier last night, the first episode, which I was very excited for. I'm a big Marvel fan, and I've been waiting to watch it all weekend, so I was really excited. And honestly, I can honestly say I did not notice anything wrong when I personally watched it. And the only reason I realized it was because my dad brought it up. So props to him. But he had a really big problem with a particular scene. And don't worry, there's no spoilers involved in this discussion.
Very good.
There was a scene where the Falcon, Sam, and I believe Rhodes, he's also War Machine, basically. And these are two Black actors standing in the Captain America Smithsonian exhibit, sort of, as my dad said, singing his praises, him being Captain America. And my dad's point was, it sort of annoyed him that they were sort of ignoring the fact that, these two Black men are singing the praises of a white man from 1945, where in the real world, white men in America in 1945 didn't care about Black people. They didn't, as a whole, as a society. And it sort of got him to the point where he didn't like that the MCU doesn't acknowledge the fact that that is a factor in this. And it kind of makes Captain America seem a bit like a white savior accidentally, because he's this guy who's fighting for freedom, who's fighting for American freedom. And he never brings up the fact that there are people in America who weren't really free at the time. So that was sort of his issue with it. And the interesting thing, the more I thought about it, is that the whole issue, the struggle of being an African American in America, is mentioned in the MCU by Killmonger in Black Panther. So it's not like it's ignored. It's not like it's supposed to not be there, which would be problematic in itself, but they do bring it up. They just choose a specific time to bring it up. So I don't know. It was, the more I talked about it with him and the more I thought about it, I definitely agree with him. I think that it's important to acknowledge these things, because we don't want to do the whole white savior thing, which is basically just something that can make white people feel better about American history.
So Emma, could you explain to our listeners who might not know, what is the white savior complex?
Thank you. Yes, I should definitely do that. So the white savior kind of trope in film and media and all that is this character who kind of saves people of color and whatever the story is. I think the most prominent example of this is The Help, I think it's Emma Stone's character comes in and like she's a journalist or a writer and saves some of these Black women from issues they're having in their lives, and it's just not super accurate or fair to say that there were white people who just, started trying to save people of color all the time. That's how it worked. Like there was sort of this like group of people who were always there to sort of save the day when that wasn't really the case. It just kind of, I don't know. It's not fair to people of color to sort of just say, to make it seem like it was better than it was, I guess, because that's not true. And it makes issues like today seem less important because, if you just watch TV and film, it's like, well, it wasn't really that bad back then. So how can it be that bad now? But it is. And things like Disney and the MCU need to address this and be real about it instead of just ignoring it. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Completely agree. The white savior, the whole white savior idea is there's a reason that people talk about it. It's in the media all the time. And it's not only just the media, it's also in person. You ever hear somebody say, oh, a white person goes to Africa to go on this mission trip, when really those types of trips, it's for the white person, not for the people in Africa that they're supposedly helping. And I think that those trips have become so popular because of the media representation of the white savior. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any disagreements. I'm also a white man, so I have never felt the effects of this, but I can understand why others do.
This is true. I'm also white, so this is not something that I can necessarily say I've experienced, but I think it is out there personally.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, once again, white too. But I feel like they, at least my interpretation of it, I feel like they did touch on that a little bit. I feel like they definitely dove into the struggles Sam and his family were having, just after the events of the story of the MCU itself, but also as they're portrayed, being a Black family. But I see what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure I know the specific scene you're talking about that you mentioned. But overall, I think they did focus on it at some point in the first episode. Maybe not as much as they probably could have. But with that being said, they are only in the first episode. So based on the cliffhanger that we were given at the end, I feel like they might actually be diving more into it.
Yeah, I think you could be right about that. So we'll see.
Well, thank you, Emma, for some hot takes today. They weren't, I will say, important conversation. Not so much hot takes amongst this group, but if we were to take this conversation outside, it definitely would be. But that's all the time we have here on the Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State. I've been your beautiful host, Louis Biondolillo.
I'm Kyle Pepitone.
And I'm Tom Starter.
And I'm Emma Coughlin.
And from all of us here at the station, we wish you a happy and healthy, beautiful Monday. Hope you can continue hanging out with us for the next weeks and months to come as we cover more focused racial justice, more hot takes from Emma, and more interesting stories and news updates here on the Morning Buzz. We'll see you next week.